Hello, my passenger friends, and welcome back to another episode of the Carffice Podcast, my car office. I'm your host, Greg Gross. Please buckle up and enjoy the ride. Hey, we are back, and it's episode 11. We just cruising, everybody. We are cruising, and I'm so excited that you are a part of this episode. However you're tuning in, welcome. And we're gonna dive in to the second installment of Burlington. That's right. This is Burlington Part 2, and Part 1 was fun. It's fun. I truly believe each part is going to get better and a little bit more juicier. And you're going to know what I mean by that as we continue along in this ride to Burlington, Wisconsin. You see what I'm saying? I'm repping again. I know, isn't this great? A huge demon face here. I shared with you guys in episode episode 1, that the mascots at the high school is the demons. And so I just this is wrestling again, wrestling t-shirt, and I just wanted to represent Burlington in some way. And I just, you get to stare at a demon face this whole episode. You're welcome. It's a really comfy shirt, so honestly, that is why I'm wearing it today. And I like to be comfy when I record these episodes, obviously. But thank you, everyone, for being here. Like I said, thank you for tuning in, subscribing, liking, watching, sharing, telling your friends, your family. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, I'm on YouTube, all that kind of stuff. I just want to thank you for your support. I mean, I've just gotten so many amazing responses from friends and family and other people I don't even know that have reached out to me, and they're just like, hey, thank you so much for just sharing and being vulnerable. And basically a documentary of my life thus far is what the Carffice Podcast has been. And you know what? It might stay like that. It might morph, transform, whatever. But today is definitely another piece of my life that I'm giving to you. And you, I hope it helps. Hope it encourages, adds value, maybe some wow factors. Hopefully it's intriguing, entertaining, all that kind of stuff. But thank you so much for being here. And thank you in advance for again, passing it on and sharing it and everything like that. It's I'm just super grateful. I'm super grateful that, again, I'm on episode 11 and this is out of my car, and it's just good. Hey, there's a good little pink seat right there. That's Emmy. We got Etney behind here. Ella sits in the back right now. We got the movie down. Again, I still believe I got School of Rock rocking out for my Uber Lyft friends. I'll be Ubering again tonight, and it's been a little bit different in Erie. Maybe I'll do a whole episode on that. Yeah, I think I will. So, hey, Burlington Part 1 recap. I'm not going to really do a ton here. Basically, Part 1, if you didn't get to listen to it, go listen to it. It was set place in July of 2013 through August of 2015 is what I shared with you guys last time. I went back and listened to some of it, and again, I know it was all over the place. I think I got some things messed up in it, some dates and stuff, but you know what? It's just real. It's raw. I'm not going to do all these crazy edits and go back and record the whole thing again. You take what you get, okay? And so, but I do believe I polished up some of my notes better for this episode. So I guess we'll see. But go back, listen to number 1. If you're just jumping in here and this is your first Carffice podcast, I encourage you maybe to at least go back and listen to Burlington Part 1, or go back and, you're going to need Burlington Part 1 to understand Burlington Part 2. Obviously, it's going to be like that. Yes, there's going to be separate things, but you're going to miss a lot of context that I'm not going to bring up again. And but I obviously encourage you to go back and listen to any episode, because you might find out some stuff that you would have never found out if you didn't listen to it. Duh. So here we go. Go back and listen to that. But we are going to jump into Part 2, and I always like to share this. I guess I've been calling it a disclaimer. I don't know what it is, but here we go. These episodes that I've been going into about my past vocational ministry jobs, Delano, Beloit, now Burlington, these are all my story, my pastor friends. This is my perspective. This is my side. This is my lived experiences. These are my opinions, obviously. And it's here on the Carffice Podcast. Now, obviously, there's other people around me during these seasons, right? Other human beings that were part of maybe certain situations or certain experiences. But, I mean, this is my experiences, my opinions, and theirs might be different. And if they are, they can agree, disagree, whatever. That's up to them. I have no control of what they're going to feel, think, and how they'd like to receive or respond to it. But, and if they want to share their personal experiences and opinions, as I've said in every one of these episodes, they are more than welcome to start their own Carffice. Well, I was going to say Carffice. I mean, I guess you can start your own Carffice, but they're more than welcome to start their own podcast or a different platform where they're sharing if they want to. But hey, for now, you just get your host, Greg Gross, and the Carffice, and you get his side and everything he went through. So we're going to jump in. And I didn't really mention this in part one. So obviously I'm rocking the Never Walk hat right now, but I'm going to take this off and I'm going to put on a, if you're on YouTube, I mean, if you're on YouTube, you just get the full experience. So if you're listening, that's great too, but I encourage you at least try to watch some episodes on YouTube as well. Go subscribe. H20, you see that? H20, H2O, because that was the name of the youth ministry that I was a part of in Burlington. It was that name was created by my mentor that I brought up in the past episodes, and this is kind of a cool classic hat. Not many people have this one, and H20. I know it's kind of hard to maybe read, but because it's all cursive. H2O, H20, living water, Jesus, right there, and that was the heart behind it. You will not go thirsty with Jesus, and so yeah, and there's a reason why I'm wearing this hat in this episode. I have at least one other hat to put on today, as I switched through like 3 or 4, I think, in the last one. But H2O Youth, if you were part of H2O Youth, you are original. And again, I came in, I think, after 10 years. I mean, H2O was around many, many years before I had the honor to come in as a campus youth pastor. So yeah, I wanted to rock that today. And then also something I wanted to go in today that I completely failed to mention in my last episode. It probably would have been good because there is a lot of moving pieces as me and my family came into Burlington. A lot of deciding factors, important things that, it's not like we just picked up and moved our family, especially everything we went through in Delano and Beloit, right? So, obviously my mentor that initially told me about the opportunity and position in Burlington as a multi-site campus, it's not like we were just, because of him, we were able to just go there and then obviously eventually accept the position and stuff like that. A huge part, one of the main parts, how that all could happen were the campus pastor that and his wife and his family that were already established there in Burlington. They're someone that we met with that I had to go through an interview process still. It's not like just like my mentor's like, hey, here you go. And like, I can just show up and then I get a job. No, the campus pastor there in Burlington, and his wife and his family, obviously me and Courtney met with them prior and they made it also feel like a good fit. And, I still consider them friends to this day. We would not have stayed in Burlington, or we would not have been allowed to be a part of that community in Burlington if it wasn't for them. And so they obviously know who they are. And like I said, I still consider them friends of my life. And even though we don't get to talk a lot and we're moving in, obviously we're living in a whole nother state, but we would not have stayed there 6 years if it wasn't a good fit. And they made it possible to be a good fit. They were always so welcoming and great leaders and led with what they had, and especially what they were given as they came into Burlington. Because like I kind of mentioned in the last episode, it wasn't the prettiest transition that they had to move into. But again, church politics, my friends. Okay, yes, it's a business. Has to be run like a business many of the times, and it's not always easy. But I just wanted to preface that because Courtney and I would not have landed in Burlington if it wasn't for them. So I just wanted to give them a shout out, thank them for obviously the time. And yeah, I mean, the time that we had there. And obviously, yeah, we had our differences in what good, healthy team, or I'll just say it this way, couples don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, just like a marriage has its differences, but you work through them. And it can make you stronger or worse. And you don't always have to see eye to eye with somebody to not stay around. Because, again, you already heard about Delano and Beloit, the situations outside of even the pastors of the things that were going on. But, again, just wanted to take a moment and just say, hey, loved our time there, regardless of some of the difficulties and some of the differences that might have went on. Because, I mean, glory, you just keep putting your feet in front of you and you keep moving forward and make the best of it. So just wanted to say that. I mean, that's a huge piece because I just really failed to mention that. Like I said, it probably didn't make sense to some of you. It's like, oh, your mentor reached out to you. He was at the other campus and then you just showed up at the new campus and you got a job. No, that's not how it worked. And that's why I'm taking some time right now before we really jump in to mention, yes, there was a campus pastor in Burlington, his wife, his family, and still love them to this day, regardless of what we went through and the different differences and difficulties along the way that you'll hear about throughout these next couple episodes too, in some type of form or context. So there you go. There's a little cliffhanger for you. So let me see here. Where are we going to jump in? Well, this episode is September 2015 through August 2017. Okay, so we left off August 2015. So this episode is going to be everything as best as I can that went on from September 2015 through August 2017. Okay, you ready? Now that I just literally gave a lot of different introductions and disclaimers, you're so patient. Thank you. So we September of 2015, we had another friends night, is what they're called, and this one was a lot of fun. This one was called Homecoming. So you know how high schools put on homecomings and there's dances and all that kind of stuff. So I thought our themes were pretty cool. And this one was called Homecoming, and we had football theme and burgers and hot dogs, and we had another car smash. We had all these giveaways again. And we had a pretty good turnout coming back after the summer. We still had some really good momentum coming out of summer camp, everything like that. Fall was always my favorite time of year, just football in general. I love football. At the high school, Friday Night Lights, and also Go Pack Go. Yes, I am Wisconsin, born and bred. Come on now, remember on the blacktop is where I spent most of my days. Remember that one? And yes, but Homecoming, it was great, awesome friends night. I believe again we had around 30 to 40 students, 10 decisions for Jesus. We jumped right into a series called Playlist, which I was awesome. It was like a little Spotify logo, and we took songs. Had a really cool creative team. We took songs and we broke down those songs. I don't even remember one of the songs, people, but it was a cool series. That's why I wanted to bring it up. Also in the beginning, at the end of September every year, with something called See You at the Pole. This is a nationwide event. Thousands upon thousands of students stand at their flagpoles the last Wednesday, I believe, of every September and pray around the flagpoles. And this is something I was a part of since I was in high school. Not many See at the Polls I've missed since my sophomore year of high school. So even as an adult. So I went to the Waterford High School, the Burlington High School, stood around the flagpole, and we prayed. And for the nation, for the school, for the faculty, staff, all that kind of stuff. So that was cool. And then, just to touch on too, I kind of brought this up in the last episode, just still building good leadership teams and structure with my adult leaders. I loved my leadership team, all my leadership teams throughout the time I was there in Burlington. You know who all you are, all you adult leaders, all near and dear to my heart still. I know I don't get to talk to many of you if you're listening to this, but thank you again for your time that you served. Serve me, serve Courtney, serve the students, serve the church, and ultimately serve God. So thank you guys so much. But still building that, finding a good groove with that. We always had things called nights of worship throughout the year. A huge heart for worship. Again, like I said, in all my positions, Delano, Beloit, and Burlington, when I came in, nothing much was established. So I was leading worship, preaching every single Wednesday night. Woo, was that exhausting. I'm telling you right now, when you got to preach and lead worship every single Wednesday, it's exhausting. So I didn't want to continue that, so just building up teams there. But we did nights of worship where it's like the whole night, like an hour of worship. It was really cool, just digging deep with students. And then we did right out of different events, like obviously winter camp, summer camps, friends nights. We did water baptism, so we like tied that in with the worship night. Honestly, probably one of my favorite nights throughout the year. We do that multiple times. Let me see. I want to just take a second before we move on into like just more things about H2O in general. Is I didn't talk a lot about campus life in the last episode, and that was a huge part of my life. I was at Waterford High School, like I said, every Monday at Waterford High School. You know the crew there. If you're listening to this, and that was like kind of like my first baby as far as campus life. And those students, they were just phenomenal. Still in contact with many of those students. Basically, go in for an hour after school, and we'd run sometimes 15, 20, up to 30 students at campus life after school. We'd have snacks, once a month pizza, giveaways. We do a little lesson. We do games. And again, we talk about Jesus and stuff like that right there at a public school. And I had students help me lead that. They're called core students, I believe, something like that. They'd help me lead that in Waterford. And in Burlington, we didn't really have it set up quite yet, I don't think. In 2015, we might have. What we did have set up was something called Higher Goal, which I have that written down here. When am I talking about that? I'll be talking about that here soon. So I'm not going to jump into that yet. But that was with the soccer teams. But campus life was very specific, just trying to build up the relationships with the school. And Waterford at that time was my main focus. So I know I don't have any Waterford gear, but you guys, the students there, are very near to my heart, part of my youth ministry as well. Phenomenal leaders, some of the best student leaders I've ever experienced in my years of vocational ministry. And so you know who you are. Man, I don't want to get emotional. I just don't want to get emotional. And yes, I was kind of starting to go that direction. So that was campus life. And let me see here. Oh, another cool thing about that is people were giving their lives to Jesus right there in high school after school. So God was moving. He really was. And it was just really cool moments to be a part of, and something to help those students build for a few years. Because I was in Waterford, I think, for three or 4 years, until some of those core students graduated, and God shifted my heart just to the Burlington campus. And I funneled everything through Burlington because I lived in Burlington, and it just made sense, people. It just made sense. Plus, work smarter, not harder, right? Or both. Work hard and smart, but you know what I'm trying to say. Let's see here. Winter camp 2016. We're bouncing into 2016 now, okay? 2015, see you later. Bouncing into 2016. That theme was "We Will Not Be Shaken." The cool thing I remember about that winter camp was the theme "We Will Not Be Shaken." There's actually students at the Kenosha campus that they wrote a song, "We Will Not Be Shaken," and they helped lead worship throughout that weekend. So that was really special. They like recorded it. I think we were even thinking about putting on an album at one time. The main church in general actually put out an album, which was pretty cool. But "We Will Not Be Shaken," I think, was one of the songs on there. But winter camps were always a blast. Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. So I just wanted to mention that. Wrestling team, that was, you know, my second, I don't know, I think my second season with the wrestling team, and I just really enjoyed that. My pastor friends, I loved going. I was involved a few days a week, going, and the meets on Thursdays, tournaments on Saturdays. I don't think my wife liked that I was gone so much, especially everything together with campus life and then all the stuff on Wednesdays and youth. But I mean, that is where I came alive. I loved the sport of wrestling, and I loved being on the mat. I loved the aspect of coaching, and hence why I just feel like I'm a coach for everything. Obviously, life coach, health coach, dad coach, husband coach. Don't tell my wife that. No, I mean, again, I just love the aspect of coaching and being on the mat with students like that. And for wrestling coaching, it's funny. I was never like the greatest wrestler. I wasn't. Where I help students is like here and here. the mental game and the heart game, because honestly, you can win or lose. It's many times a high percentage on your mind. Where's your mindset? Where's your heart at? And I could coach wrestling probably up to the middle school level as far as technique and that kind of stuff. But other coaches had phenomenal other coaches. Obviously, the head coach himself, more than anyone, just they're technicians. I call them technicians. And so I really prided myself in, the never walk mindset, persevere, keep going, and just being a good influence to those students. This day and age, students don't have a lot of good influences in their life. So my heart for them and anything with youth was ministry to me, outside or inside the four walls. So then we're jumping into first time ever we did something out of winter camp called, I believe it was first time ever, something called Revival Nights. And it was kind of like a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 3 nights in a row. We would take students down to Kenosha, bring in top-notch speakers that we had in at summer camps. And we did giveaways, we did huge things, we did food, and it was just a powerful night for 3 nights in a row where students could bring their friends, and those were unreal. Those were really cool, especially the first few years we did them. And so Revival Nights, that was March of 2016, if you're following along. And then I wanted to really touch on this now. I said I'd wrap back around to it, something called Higher Goal. Higher Goal was something that was an entity of Youth for Christ. And this was really where I made my first connection with Burlington, how I was able to even build a relationship and start campus life there, is I got to speak to the girls and boys soccer team. So girls, I did that first. I think speaking to the girls soccer team, all you girls out there that I got to speak to over the years, 7 seasons, you know who you are. Probably, I feel like I say this a lot, but no, it's up there. Probably, or if not, the most favorite thing I got to do with students in Burlington outside of wrestling. And that has nothing to do with what I did on Wednesday nights. Obviously, they're just so different. They're just so different. After a while, I really, really realized how much I love being in the high school. The more I could be in the high school, Friday Night Lights, the boys soccer team, the girls soccer team, the wrestling, just being there is where I really loved. Obviously, the inside the four walls served its purpose, and love that too. But man, when I got to be outside the four walls, inside of the high school, around students like that was a lot of fun for me. Plus, I got to go in the locker rooms and speak to the boys or girls soccer teams before their home games. Just a 15-minute little pep talk, and then at the end of each season, got to give them opportunities to give their lives to Jesus. I mean, I saw over 100 students plus give their lives to Jesus in the locker rooms before their soccer games. I mean, there's just something special about that. That's really where the Never Walk came alive too. I'd give out wristbands. I don't have one here. I should have brought one. Actually, no. I mean, I have. Oh, I can show you one. So I have this black one, Never Walk, Hebrews 12:1, run the race with perseverance marked out for you. I handed out thousands of these people to wrestling and the soccer and other people around Burlington over those 6 years. And the girls and boys, they put them on their shoes and they'd break and stuff like that. But the black one was for the seniors and got them gifts at the end of the year. So it just really grew into something pretty special. It just really did. And so I wanted to take a moment to talk about Higher Goal. I'll probably come back to it again, maybe at some point. But if I don't, I really wanted to pause and just, again, all you students that I was able to be around for Higher Goal, boys or girls, same, with the wrestling team. I'll probably for sure talk about the wrestling team again. Just, you know who you are. Thanks for making those moments so special. I really, really miss those moments, and I'm glad I got to be a part of that. And so, yeah, and shout out to the soccer coach, too, during that time. He's a friend of mine that helped bridge that connection. So now, about to transition here into some big news, a new era. As we jumped into that summer of 2016, there was a huge shift that happened with H2O, H20. And everything was kind of going across, with the church being called Journey Church, everything was being changed over just to be, I don't know what you want to call it. Don't know the word. You probably know what the word is, but I can't think of it. But we changed the name. H2O was going bye-bye, which was really hard because that was the longest standing name. I mean, it was, I think, 10 plus years at that point. And if you couldn't guess it, if you couldn't guess what the youth was called, Journey Youth. Boom. Boom, boom, boom. And I have a shirt here. I didn't put it on, but maybe I'll just, let it sit here. That was the logo. Boom. Journey Youth. So there you go. There. Some of you are happy you don't have to stare at a devil face for some reason now. So if you're on YouTube, but if you're not on YouTube, it doesn't really matter anyways. Well, that was the logo. Journey Youth. That was huge. That was really, that was a big deal, especially to talk to the people that really, some of the students that really connected to H2O and the name. It's funny how a name can make people go crazy, and they're just so silly and get all up in arms about a name. I was pretty sentimental about it, but it was a huge deal. Journey Youth and JRNYTH, I think it's on the hat. Yeah, JRNYTH. We don't like using vowels. Was the joke. We don't even know what vowels are with Journey. So there we go. Who needs them? But that was huge, and we launched that right before camp, which was very strategic. So we had a lot of momentum going into camp. All this merch. Let me see here. That was summer camp of 2016. And that was called Radical, I believe that summer camp was called. And here's the coolest part about that summer camp. You ready? First ever Journey Youth camp. And we did these battles like color wars and life group wars at camp. And at that point, we really started building up, Burlington wasn't low on the totem pole anymore. Kenosha used to be the powerhouse. But, you know what happened? Burlington's life groups, ammo in the mix, both brought home, they were like oars, like paddles, and they won the battles that year. And I have a super sweet picture that was taken on the stage in Kenosha. That was a huge deal. I don't know, it was like bragging rights, you know what I'm saying? How proud pastor moments. We just had some really go-getter students that were leaders in both life groups, and we brought home the paddles. Crushed all the Kenosha life groups. Hey, I'm just putting it out there. And that was really cool. So that was the summer of 2016. Moving into the fall of 2016, my most favorite Friends Night yet. And it was the first Journey Youth Friends Night, and we called it 90s Night. We dressed all retro, fun, bright colors. I couldn't find it. I'm sorry. I had this really cool hat. Remember those like baseball hats with the different colors, and it had the spinner on the top? Yeah, dude, I was wearing that when I was preaching. I had this like retro jacket. Got it at Goodwill. But this was the cool thing about that 90s night. We pumped it up. We pumped it up. We did like 3 things. Like if the students brought us a certain amount of friends, the leaders would do challenges. So like I think it was the first challenge was, half full one of my leaders was going to do a polar plunge. And then 75% full, one of my leaders was going to do eating a Carolina Reaper. And then a packed house, I was going to skydive. So there's a lot on the line. And I'm not going to lie, some parts of skydiving sounds fun, but I was actually pretty scared. So it was just such a fun night. And the students, oh my goodness, so much energy. And we almost packed the house. We had 92 students, okay? And they were like 15 students short from packing the house. So I didn't have to skydive. But my buddy had to eat a Carolina Reaper like a few weeks later, and some other leaders did that, which, oh my gosh, that was a fun night. And my other leader had to do the polar plunge. So that was really cool. But that Carolina Reaper thing, oh my gosh, that pepper. I had one leader had to go to the emergency room. Other leaders were like sweating. They ate it though. They had they were adults, so they didn't have to sign waivers. But some students wanted to do it, so they had to call their parents for permission. I'm telling you. Sorry, it's creeping down there. My shirt, for all of those of you that aren't watching, my shirt was creeping down. Oops, sorry. I forgot there was a mic there. Hopefully that didn't mess things up. We're just going to put that over here. Oh, which, by the way, did you enjoy that rain on my last episode? Oh my goodness, you could see it coming down. You could actually hear it in the audio. I said, I don't know if this is going to come up, and it did. And now I just had a shirt over my mic for the last, 5 minutes. So now we're going to see what that did to the audio. Great. Awesome. I have no idea what just happened to the audio for the last 5 minutes. Probably was muffled. So that's going to be fun. I just literally talked, what did I talk about for the last 5 minutes? I talked about the new era, Journey Youth, we won the battles, 90s night, packed the house. Man, we had like 30 students give their lives to Jesus that night. We had 92 students, 21 decisions, unbelievable night for the 90s night. Then we also did some big things called the Big Give in our Christmas parties I brought up at the end of 2016. We gave $2,600 in one night with the Burlington campus towards missionaries called the Big Give. I think our record we ever did was like over $3,000 or $4,000, I think, towards the end of my time there. I'll check on that. I'll probably share that in the next episode. But again, our Christmas parties were off the chain. I think I shared that last time. Now we're getting into 2017. Here we go. Just cruising along. Again, no pun intended. Winter Camp 2017 was called We Are. We Are, because we are Journey Youth and our identities in Jesus, all this kind of stuff. And hey, by the way, we took home the trophies again. So the battle trophies. So that was like 2 camps in a row, which was a big deal. That was like kind of in the same calendar year. So, or you know what I'm trying to say, the fiscal year. And so that was a big deal. We were just making it happen. Here's the big thing about this camp, which is a huge turnaround in the youth ministry for dynamics, and also it connected with the wrestling team. I was obviously pretty close to a lot of families in the time when you spend a lot of time with families. There was a certain family that there's a boys who are wrestlers, and one of the boys had a lot of influence, and a family was really well known, and he came to winter camp, and pretty rough kid at first. You know who you are if you listen to this ever, or if some people might know who I'm talking about, but he gave his life to Jesus. He was radically changed. He got baptized after winter camp, and that went into the wrestling team. It influenced the wrestling team in the public school, which was really the turning point there. And within that next year, which I think I'll share more about this obviously in the next episode too, but just a little teaser is, it turned into about 10 plus wrestlers giving their lives to Jesus. More were baptized, really shifted some stuff in the public school, and all because how one student can do that. And still near to dear to that family, to this wrestler. Actually, he couldn't wrestle anymore. He got hurt, which really stunk, ended his career. But that was a really cool shift. Youth ministry was so much fun. 2016, 2017, leading in even to the next years. And that was kind of a turning point shift. Things started getting really interesting in a good way. So then we kind of went into things called, this is kind of cool about giving. We went into this thing called Dare to Give. This was an awesome idea that one of my leaders came up with, because we did the Big Give, so then we called it Dare to Give. Basically, every month we picked a different leader or student, and they had to do different challenges, like eat peppers or do this, and then 3 different challenges. And if students brought in a certain amount of money, the leader or student had to do something, do a certain thing, like, again, the different levels like we did for 90s night, but we put that into giving. And our giving went way up. I mean, we gave 50% more the following year because we did these challenges, these Dare to Give, like every month, and students got behind it and they got excited about it to give towards their leaders because it kept it interesting. So that was something cool. Any of you people in vocational ministry out there, youth ministries, Dare to Give, if you want more information about that, shoot me a message, give me a call. I can give you more details on that. And then kind of before we wrap up with the summer, I did want to mention this. I mean, this could be a whole podcast or a lot more time. But towards the spring of 2017, that was a really hard, it was horrible what happened. One of our leaders, adult leaders, lost his life. He was in a car accident with a couple other young men, and they lost control. The driver lost control of the car. went into a tree, and without sharing much more detail, they just all died on impact. And this particular leader, it was tragic. It was tragic. I remember it was over Memorial Day weekend, and we did this thing called Chocolate Fest in Burlington, which again, they took a whole chocolate thing out of Burlington. It's kind of weird. But Chocolate Fest, and his family was very involved at Chocolate Fest, and close to this family too. And but the particular young man, I actually picked him up for church that morning. It was a Sunday, and we were close. I was mentoring him. He was a student of mine, actually came through Campus Life Burlington initially. So check that out. When we actually launched Campus Life Burlington, he was one of the first initial students that came through that, and then got connected to our youth ministry. Phenomenal young man, actually had a heart to go into ministry, and very talented musically and plays. And I was really close to him. Like, there's nothing this is not like I was. And brought him to church that morning. He got me a cold brew from the coffee house in Burlington. He actually taught me how to make my own cold brew. And he left church that day, and that night hung out with some friends, and that was the last time I saw him. And yeah, I've lost people in my life, but that was the first. That would hit real hard, actually, in this moment, just thinking about him. It's been 4 years, actually, since we celebrated his life. I got to speak at his celebration of life as well, and that was really difficult, getting that phone call. I was at my parents' that weekend. Felt weird. I saw that there was a crash the night before, and something in my stomach knew I was going to know somebody. And the next morning I get a call from a family friend. It was a voicemail telling me about this young man that I knew passed away, and the family wanted me to know. So I actually drove back to Burlington that day. I left because I just couldn't, went back to the place that happened. That hit our youth ministry hard. We did a whole separate night just for him, and we invited people, and I did a message of hope, and about 50, 60 people came out, and people gave their lives to Jesus. And it's not easy, obviously, losing somebody, but it's something about when you lose a young man who's barely starting his life, just out of high school. And he had so much influence on our students in the city. So, man, I miss you. And obviously, you guys know I try not to share names just to protect people's privacy. So, best I can. People that are listening to this know the different people I'm talking about, if they're close to me or close to a certain situation. But outside of that, I just try to do my best to protect a little, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I just wanted to pause, talk about that, because that was a huge shift in our youth ministry. That was the first time as a pastor I had to walk people through grief as I was grieving myself. And so there we go. There's the first time shedding some tears on the Carffice. We're gonna move forward. We're gonna move forward here, and like I said, just try to tail end here of 2017, because this goes until August 2017 before we shut this down. We did some things called Senior Takeover, which was really cool, where the senior class always took over one of the Wednesdays, the last Wednesdays of the beginning of the school year, end of the school year. And then I started a tradition with these like manna jars, and I would name the class, and I would give them this jar with Journey Youth lanyard on it, and Yeah, like name the class like overcomers, forerunners, put meaning behind it, write each senior handwritten letter. One year I had to write out like 24 senior handwritten letters because I was connected to that many seniors, or those many seniors I could think of that came through the doors at some point, even if they weren't still attending. And so I'd personally hand out these jars with a letter, with a lanyard, with a Never Walk wristband, a black one. And so that was really cool. But seniors got to take over, run everything that night, and then I would celebrate them, honor them. I think we started doing this maybe this summer or the summer before, 2016, 2017. We would clean out all the lockers. Actually, no, this was the second summer we did this because we did it for Project Burlington. Clean out all the lockers, all like 3,000 of them at the high school. Just serving the schools, guys. Serve your community. Serve your community, whatever you can do. No strings attached. Just want to serve the community. But, when you do it right, doors open. Doors open when you do it right and you serve authentically. And so we did. We did that. And then we went into Summer Camp Live in June. And this is the last thing I'm sharing because this was crazy. Man, 2017 was crazy. I haven't really thought a lot about this stuff until now. And now I'm sharing it on a podcast. So it's like when you start thinking about it more, it's all this stuff, all these emotions, all these things happen. Oh my goodness. 2017 was nuts. The beginning of 2017, from New Year till summer. So 2017 was the summer of the flood, if I'm not mistaken. Burlington, Wisconsin flooded. There's a river that runs through it, and it flooded. It rained so much that the city literally flooded, and it was a ghost town, and it was getting into our bottom of our apartment. It happened right before summer camp, and we didn't know if we were going to be able to go. We couldn't drive on the streets. Courtney and the kids literally packed up the night before as you could evacuate the city, and they went to my parents, and I literally tried to get around that weekend. So many different changes, and I stayed at my campus pastor's house that night before, and then we met in the Walmart parking lot with all the students. We still made it happen. Man, was it exhausting though. Summer camp's already exhausting, and then you add in a flood. You can't even make this stuff up. Which, by the way, what you really can't make up is the theme for summer camp that year. Before the flood, we even knew about the flood. The theme, my pastor friends, for summer camp that year was open heavens. Yeah, open heavens. Just open heavens, let it rain. Like, why not? Flood Burlington. I'll tell you what, you get through things like that in adversity. God showed up that weekend in our students, in our lives. That was a powerful weekend. And we almost didn't make it happen because our city flooded. Man, that was insane. That was literally insane. I don't know if there's any casualties. A lot of property was ruined in Burlington. None of our stuff was, but our apartment complex was right on the river. We lost power for sure that night. I remember that. When packing everything up and the kids, Courtney driving over the curb because she had to drive over the curb to get through some, I don't know, it was nuts. Open heavens, flood of the summer of 2017. You can't make this stuff up. Great summer camp as always. Don't really know much more to say about that. What could I say about that? And 2017 was again a humdinger. I don't know why I use that word. So with all that being said, I believe this part 2 was a little bit more info. I believe this episode was longer than part 1, and for obvious reasons. And part 3 is probably going to be even longer, by the way, a little bit longer. Most of my episodes have been 30 minutes, 30 to 40. Episode 3 could be my first hour episode. Who knows? We'll find out. But just want to say again to everybody here, first of all, I wanted to share and encourage all the people in ministry out there, vocational, bivocational, missional, keep fighting for what God is calling you to. Vocational ministry, bivocational ministry, in the church, outside the four walls. It's not easy. I definitely experienced my ups and downs, but in this episode, I had some ups and downs, but it was really good season of bivocational ministry. I had in 2016, 2017. And I'm grateful for it. So if you're going through things that are rough, keep communicating, keep talking with your mentorship teams, your leaders. Again, if you know you're supposed to be doing something, have character, have integrity, and just know you're going to make mistakes. Just own up to those mistakes, respond well. And if you're in a hard situation, need somebody to talk to, reach out to me. I'd be happy to talk. Hopefully with everything I've shared in the last 4 episodes of ministry, you know that I didn't do things always perfect, but I tried to respond well and try to continue to move forward. So, right, the never walk mentality, live a life of perseverance. So, also just want to thank, where am I going to? Oh yeah, also just wanted to say one more time, disclaimer, again, these are my opinions, my living experiences, my perspective, my side of my story. If you have something you want to add, you felt like I should have added, you think I was talking out of my butt or wasn't saying something correctly, you're more than welcome to start your own podcast. Oh, man. Hey. So we're going to close things down here. We're going to close things down. And part 3 will be next week. And like I said, part 3 is going to be, when is part 3? Part 3 will be September 2017 through August 2019. So pretty much a whole 2-year span again. September 2017 through August 2019. A lot happened in there. That will probably, I'm navigating, processing through some things. A lot happened. I'm trying to figure out what I'm all going to share, what I can fit and share, how much I should share, how open, honest, and vulnerable I can and should be. And so that's a little cliffhanger for you to come back for part 3 of Burlington for next week. But I hope you enjoyed part 2. Hope you enjoyed part 1. Hope you enjoyed part 2. Hope you've enjoyed this was episode 11, all 11 episodes of the Carffice. Once we wrap up part 3, the first season 1 of the Carffice will be done. Season 1. So that's 12 total episodes. Season 1 of the Carffice will be done. And then stay tuned. Stay tuned for what's next. We'll type into the roadmap here. Just want to thank again all my listeners, all my subscribers, all the people that share, comment, post out, have given me feedback. Again, all your support, no matter what it is, I just want to thank you. And keep subscribing, keep sharing, keep liking, keep passing this on. If you've enjoyed it, if you think someone's going to get value out of this, if you've been shocked, if you've laughed with me, if you've maybe cried with me, I guess the only time you would have cried is probably this episode after I shared some things. But hey, you're not alone. I appreciate you being a passenger here in the Carffice, and just keep coming along for the ride. And again, I just really appreciate you all in advance again for all your support. And yeah, so there we go. Gonna put the brakes on and let you out, if that's okay. I've never really closed that way. You got to get out now. Doors over here, doors over there. If you want to go out the trunk, you can do that too. But all right, my pastor friends, I hope you enjoyed your ride today in the Carffice. I hope it helped you in your current location or towards your next destination. Until next time, be well.